Good morning, everyone. There we go. It's official. Good morning. Happy time of thanks and giving.
Right here, right here.
We're going to be talking, of course, about generosity and about giving and about these qualities of mind, heart that can make contributions to Donna and some of the characteristics or qualities that are required in order from the other aspects of the suttas that are required in order to make these offerings wholeheartedly. And really, when we say wholeheartedly, we also mean with right quality of mind. That the giving, for example, be offered without hesitation is one. That the giving be of benefit, of course, and cause no harm in the giving. And I'll talk about an example of me giving my stepfather, who was an alcoholic, a bottle of scotch every Christmas for probably 20 years before I woke up. Like, what really did he want it? Of course. Was he happy about it? Of course. Was it of consequence that was to his destruction, to his affliction, and then to the affliction of many? And the answer was yes. I just couldn't discern in that time, in those years. So how to give without causing any harm. And really then not only harm to the recipient, but the truth is harm to oneself. This is an interesting dynamic in these teachings, because it says, to the extent that you are hesitant, to the extent that you are not right-minded, which actually might mean that I'm doing this for my own merit, right? That, could you see the consequence there? To the extent that it would be the opposite of anonymous, that it would be to look or present or have an image in a certain way. These would be consequences that from the Buddhist point of view, it would be better to sit still, is the sutta. The greater good, isn't that, like, gives me goosebumps? The greater good would be to simply sit still. Do you get what that message is? That really the practice itself also is an essential gift itself. It is the first act of dana paramita. This actually hearing the teachings, seeing the sense of their truth, and then making a commitment to the sangha, to the oneself and other beings, to commit oneself.
That look like in the context of
Grandpa and Christmas, that I would have in this, I want to make you happy. I want to, that I could feel the contractedness in that I could have seen the way I want to make this better is simply to shut it all up. Like, just enable this because that's what we're all doing, and right, rather than make us uncomfortable, let's say.
or just the effort to find a new gift that might be
maybe, and one that would have him go, oh, I kind of like my stuff, and that I could have the fearlessness is really what the sutta would say. That I myself, whatever the action would be then, let's forget about the what it would look like. What would the quality of heart mind be? It would have to be in some way for me fearless, because I would be going against an entire sort of familial dynamic of, well, we just do it like this. And then we know about 4 drinks in, he just falls asleep over there, which from, somebody's point of view was better than it could otherwise have been. And we, rather than attend, address, speak to. And what would that have taken, I think, is the question today then of me. the willingness to not be the good girl, the popular, the one who everybody loved. I would have had to have had a quality, says these teachings of anatta, enough selflessness is actually written enough that this act of giving is ultimately anatta, not attached to oneself and what one is going to confront or receive, right? But I liked being the good girl. I liked being the one that everybody said, oh, she's, especially as I was younger, and needing a certain approval or wanting a certain, I contributed fairly unknowingly for a time. And then, as we develop, we see a little bit more clearly, this probably isn't what I need to be, and not yet able. Year 2, 3, now going, and then, right, whatever. How you navigate that, I think, for oneself. And then from my point of view, I went into some self-pity, like, why do I always have to be the one? Just another afflicted mind state. Why do I always have to be the one to confront the stuff or tell the truth or make the difference? Really? Does it always? And the answer is yes, it does. Thank you, Greg. Yes, yes is the answer. It does need to be me. Because who else? And as it relates to then giving and generosity, it says anatta actually has to come first. We have to cultivate some quality of non-attachment so that we can give with true generosity without just, and in fact, in the suttas, as I was reviewing them, we'll read a little, it says, make sure it's not garbage. I loved that. I'd actually never read that before, and it gave me a little shake because I think I've done that. Having, like, I don't know, that could have gone in the garbage. Well, no, I'll put it in the Goodwill box and send it over there and let them sort through it and decide otherwise or not. Make sure it's not garbage. Well, what does it mean? Make sure it's not garbage. So yes, the gift itself, the offering itself, but what else does it mean? I love that question. Your heart mind. Make sure it's not garbage. Make sure that you're coming from a place of true generosity, of true anatta. Make sure it isn't just to elevate, inflate, make you feel good. So about it, right? Make sure it's not garbage. Yeah, trash, I think was the alliteration by Bhikkhu Bodhi. But I think it got translated many times to garbage. Trash was the Bodhi's.
I like the word cultivate because you need to take the time really to kind of check it out because I think it's a little tricky sometimes. I mean, I'm finding that for myself.
I think so.
I think it can be tricky.
I think so.
And so it's we were just reading on Thursday something from Stephen Levine where he's talking about kingly giving, which is the kind of giving that you're talking about where it just comes straight from the heart. You don't really, it just comes, it just happens.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
But a lot of times it's not that way.
That's right.
I've noticed for myself.
Yes.
That,
we do the sorting.
There's an attachment there.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
And you can kind of spend a little bit of time with what is it?
Yes.
What is that attachment? And it's ego related for me.
Always ego related.
Yeah.
Garbage, and again, I think it was said a little tongue in cheek. I have these two thoughts about giving, which will, I think, illuminate this for myself. One is I've got 5 boxes sitting right now in the middle of my bedroom filled with winter clothes. Some of this is 25, 30 years of clothes, right? And I'm going to go through those. Now, this is a little bit of a joke right there. I'm going to go through those. Why? Who needs to go through what? They've been in an attic for, I don't know, some blipping amount of time, and I'm going to go through them. I say this to my son, get the boxes down. Because I'm enlisting the poor kid, we are going to go through them. And he goes, through them? What? Like, why would you? Right. So then here's the truth. The truth of giving would be, I would take every one of those boxes and every one of those drawers and dump them and send them. And I'm working on it. Like, I can see it. I can feel it. I'm like, there, I could almost, can I? And I think I can. And I know as I'm putting the boxes in the car, it will occur to me. And I have to face the reality of my own attachment. What if those Calvin Klein pants are in there coming back?
And you can get into them.
And I can fit them. What if, right? It's all the truth. What if that gold top that I always really liked is in there? And what is it? What is it? What is that really? I mean, if we really distill it, fear, really? Because who needs a gold top and who needs 22-year-old Calvin Klein anything? No, the guys at CRC are the folks at CRC and Rancho Costa Rica, because they're going to resell. That's not the wise choice. This is another fine point, though, that Carrie's making, is just getting rid of them isn't sufficient either, because that's garbage. That's exactly her point.
KPBS did this great story on the mounds and mounds of recycled, discarded clothing that ends up in these African countries. And people go through it to sell. This one lady was going through and she's like, all black, all black. People here want colors. And so all that stuff that, you donate that's not bought by somebody at CRC ends up in Africa or other countries in huge piles, and they don't want it either.
Trash.
Trash.
And so then we smile a little bit, don't we, at all the trash we keep. And I'm not talking about clothes. I'm talking about that quality of mind, which is really what the Buddha meant. Really, with the trash we keep, rather than non-attachment, non-reactivity, and fearlessness, which are all the characteristics that are understood towards kingly giving. And then for a moment, let's talk about what is the greatest gift according to these teachings. It is not a thing at all. The greatest gift to give is not a thing. It is not an amount of money. It is not a number of zeros at the end of a check. It is not. What is the greatest gift? Then. What is it?
You were talking about heart.
Heart. You then, right? We'll just say you are the gift.
That can come.
Of course it could then, but not limited by time. It could come in the form of intention, not limited by intention. It could then come in the form of action, it says, ultimately actionable, livable, beable, right? That this is our greatest. And then it says to share the Dharma. And I want to talk about what that really means, because I had a misunderstanding about that once and have gotten myself into some little bit amount of trouble. Sharing the Dharma. It says one of the greatest gifts is sharing the Dharma. So guess what I think that means? I'm like now a Jehovah's Witness.
Peddling trash.
Go door to door.
Kind of door to door. You could be meditating. Let me show you how. let's just take 20 breaths together. Hey, let's go to Deer Park Monastery. Not going over that well. So sharing the Dharma among the greatest of the gifts, what does it really mean?
Living it.
Just right timing, right intuition of when it's appropriate to share the body. Because if it's shared to an unreceptive, then it's trash.
It's trash. And I think we're going to stay with that simple metaphor, because then it's trash, but it was trash here. It wasn't because your own motivation was skewed. Your own right was limited. I was like, I've got to save the world now. Of course, in the early years, I was so excited about the Dharma. I was certain everybody needed to.
It doesn't feel like it's trash here. It feels like it's trash in the relational space. Right? Because maybe your intention still was right, but in the relational space, there was not.
There was a seed of rightness for sure, Pete, in it. There's no doubt, because I thought this is useful. This will be of benefit. There is no doubt about that piece too. Their seed was active and alive and has remained so. The skillfulness was limited, number one. I was young in the teachings. So I would say the skillfulness was limited. As you said, relationally, I was just offering without really saying, who are you? What can you benefit? Which is, of course, then why the Buddha said it things so many ways differently, right? Because always considering who is receiving, which is Carrie's point when she said, you're not giving those Calvin Klein jeans to the Philabelli group, are you? Right. Isn't it? But that's right consideration. But the right consideration, the greatest consideration begins where? Not first in relationship to one's own heart. What's really here? What is this offer really about? Actually, is where right consideration, right thought, and right view begin, isn't it? Like, what am I doing? Why am I making the offer? Right? What's this really about for me? I've told this story a couple times when we used to go to church the 2 times a year. We would go to church in my family's original tradition. They were Catholic, poorly, didn't really practice much. But my father, we'd watch the people come in and go to the first pew. And the people in the first pew were always dressed really beautifully. And I'd think someday I want to be that person, right? I want to walk up to that first pew and sit in that first row and wear those beautiful clothes. And my father said, no, you don't want that. Actually, you want to sit in the back row and be a giver, right? And feed the people and talk to the people who are standing back here, right? And I was probably 6 years old, and I thought, I'm not sure, you know. I think I like it looks pretty good up there, and it smells a little funnier back here. I think I might want to be the person up in the front, right? And so it takes all the time, practice, understanding, intention, commitment, getting it wrong, failing over and over, I might add. Failing over and over. I could actually name probably several moments just in the last 2 days where I have failed, but I can see the failure. I can see the grip. I can feel the wanting. And I know the suffering of it. I do. I still feel a little like, and then and so we all can. It says, giving with your own hand, another line from a sutta, is of some of the greatest merit. Giving of your own hand, that's that time, actual intent, being there, serving the meal, right, is some of the greatest, holds some of the greatest merit. Why? Giving of your own hand, time, presence, you show up, you do it, you make it. Why is it of some of the greatest merit? Comes from the right heart mind, of course.
Yeah.
What is the heart mind of that? What is the heart mind of showing up versus writing the check for you?
Giving of yourself.
Giving of yourself, right? Now, of course, your money is yourself as well, right? So we don't want to minimize those great contributions because we're going to be asking you to do that today, by the way.
There's a being with.
Yeah, there is a relational component that Pete was talking about earlier, right? This in front of and totally present with, that is understood to be of greater merit. Giving of one's own hand in the 5 precious gifts, giving of one's own hand is understood to be of greater merit. And then, right, you go, well, isn't putting the zeros on the check of one's own hand? And one could also say, I would suppose in some way, yes, right? But not quite as relational unless, and we've been talking a lot about this, I think, on the board, which is how do we participate, not just give money? How do we participate? How do we show up? How do we do it over and over? How do we get in the car, drive down to the right, bring the mac and cheese as we were talking about, or whatever? And actually, there's an interesting, in the suttas, there's an interesting reason for this. I was actually, again, as I looked over it, I was somewhat shocked. The reason for the giving of one's own hand is for one's own joy. Really? It gives me goosebumps. I forgot. Yes, for one's own, not because it's just better for them, it's better for you.
There's no distinction between them and you.
That's right.
This is the luminosity.
That's right. It's better. It's joyful. It's warm.
And also, though, not expecting anything in return.
That's exactly
Not
right.
not being mad or disappointed if your gift isn't appreciated in the way that you think it should be.
It says there
Those
will be
things.
joy.
Yeah.
The response of the other is actually not the point. Your joy. And then there's a second word that came, and I was shocked by it because I thought it was in the reverse, was gratitude. Your gratitude will grow. Your generosity will grow from that joy. From that joy comes greater gratitude, greater generosity. And then we can see, can't we, and feel the self-fulfilling, self-feeding, right? It gives itself and you and others more. And then the gift, the giver, and the receiver are one. Isn't that lovely? The gift, the giver, and the receiver are all one. Now, no distinction, Janine was saying. No, right? And so we are going to do this as a Sangha. We are committed to all of that, to giving rightly, to giving where we know there will be no harm but benefit, to give right. And so before we sit, we're going to let Greg talk about Shelter Box a little more at the end, but I want you to know, for those of you who might have to get off before we're done, Shelter Box, one of our recipients, benefactors, yeah, lovely group, Rotary International does a lot with Shelter Box. First responders right there, blankets, lanterns, tents, tarps, like World Central Kitchen, who shows up with the meals and the bread. Shelter Box does those basics, right? All over the world. And we have Giving Tuesday coming up. We are matching. So anything you give, we are doubling, matching. And then Shelter Box is now doubling. Just came out. So Shelter Box themselves. So you're going to get, for your $50, we're going to send over $100 to Shelter Box. They're going to make it too, because they have anonymous donors who are going to contribute. I do know that Melinda Gates is one. She's very involved in Shelter Box. So look at this. This is exactly the propagation that we're talking about, isn't it? So that one good moment leads to the next, which leads to the next, which leads to the next, which leads to nothing but dana paramita, the giving beyond one's measure. Giving beyond measure. No way to, it's not then anything about the number of zeros, because it's, look at that, exponential. It always is. Actually, even when we don't know that it's doubled and exponential, we do know, don't we? Yes, we do. We do. Right. And so we are going to be both practicing that luminosity, really, that resting in that boundless heart, the heart that will give beyond measure. Right. And then what comes from it? Gratitude. Because the joy of it is so unconditioned. It cannot be diminished. That joy, right? Very unlike opening a gift, you are the gift. We get this? Thank you, Greg. So we're going to practice with that a little bit. I'm going to just check chat to make sure I haven't missed any key. Doing with no expectation. Yes. The expectations are always egoic and have consequence that's going to retract you. It's going to, right? It will have impact. You can feel it, I think, right? And wanting then appreciation, wanting acknowledgement, wanting tax write-off. It isn't that these aren't also wise. It's just we have to really be careful that work. The quality of that giving. Okay. I want to just get myself settled a little here so I don't run into things. Little man, where are you going to be? I think we should come back up here. We're going to ring the bell. Come back up.
About that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Shelter Box more. Little man escaped.
He's over here.
He's got a moment. Have a final sip before I knock it over. And so the beauty of our luminosity practice is the reality that generosity, or dana paramita, which is the giving from one's purified, stable, exalted, look at these words, heart, mind, exalted. That's interesting. And so we sit in luminosity. We were already luminous, right? There is no cultivating more. Just so we know about luminosity, it is always in its ever-present and brightest appearance. We just can't see it because of our mindfulness, where the mind is and is not. And as we cultivate mindfulness, then, as we're going to do here for a moment, the truth is the bright light of luminosity, of this awakened heart mind, we just remember. And then we see more clearly, we feel its warmth without effort. And so we're going to rest back a little bit, very much not like shamatha, which is a sitting forward a little more upright, a little more still. This one's a little rested back. Why? Into the spaciousness, into the beauty, into the generosity of the paramitas, of that which goes beyond measure, the boundlessness of being. And then we commit ourselves wholeheartedly to rest into that luminosity, that brilliant appearance with each breath. There is a commitment here. It is a first aspect of Dana Paramita. The generosity of being beyond measure, that is right here, right now. And in certain traditions, like the Vipassana tradition, and certainly the Mahayana tradition as well, we would recollect, for example, all of the giving, all of the good, all of the generosity that has come throughout all time that has contributed to this moment. The aliveness of generosity, of the good, of goodwill, of love that is made possible here. And in the Dzogchen tradition, you wouldn't, there's no quality of mind. There's no conditioned quality of mind at all. You don't have to think a thing, reflect on a thing. You simply rest in boundlessness. And then we can practice, in the Mahayana tradition, we can practice opening ourselves completely to the present moment boundlessness, cultivating a felt sense. Giving oneself beyond measure, completely to this present moment. Holding nothing back. The generosity of one's own presence in contact, in relationship to everything that's right here. The train whistle, the crow caw, one's own thoughts. Nothing is excluded. And nothing is held. We keep nothing. This is Dana Parmita. We let go of whatever is arising in the out breath. Resting back. Into that vast and boundless open space. Letting go. Of everything. We relax the shoulders, we hold our own warm hands, we smile, and we rest back in our own true nature. we open and make room for it all. Remember, luminosity, luminous awareness, loving presence is never diminished. We just keep making room and space. And that includes the harsh thought, the contraction, the grip. We hold it in that light, in that warmth, in that spaciousness. It is a continuously generative, continuously gifting heart mind. We keep nothing for just ourselves, recognizing that in the opening, in the expanding, in the resting, in the spaciousness, we are available to everything. feeling that infinite and loving relationship with everything. We even include our own greed, our own moments of attachment, our own reactivity. In that luminosity. We open and get bigger in its recognition. We see clearly. And we can feel the effects. In luminosity, luminous awareness, loving presence, we use even the trash towards the good. Every moment of contractedness, of grip, of fear, of despair can be used to the good. We open, we include, we see it clearly. The true art of generosity is offering everything to the benefit. And then we can begin to feel the joy, the piti of this act of giving, this act of generosity.
No, no bark.
And we commit ourselves then even more wholeheartedly. O luminous heart mind, precious and sublime, may you arise where you have not yet come to be this moment. And this one. And never diminish. And only grow and flourish evermore and more. And may this generous and grateful and joyous heart mind, may it begin this moment and continue. So be it. Then taking a moment, just feeling into the whole heart, mind, body, being. See if you can make contact with that piti, that joy. It comes with a gentle energy. It is not restless. And its only really aspiration is to continue to give. And we see right giving as giving, or wise giving, complete giving is giving in all directions. The kind of giving we're talking about never causes harm, not to oneself and not to others. And then invite any gentle movements of the body that feel helpful towards opening that heart mind. So I thought little man reacted only to the bell, but no, he got up at so be it. He does know. He's like, so I have some pecan pumpkin streusel muffins that I made with pumpkin. So if somebody would help me, they're in these red containers with some Thanksgiving napkins. I have 100 versions of Thanksgiving napkins because I also made some shells here. And so I'm going to offer to the ladies first, because they will use those for trinkets. And then if you have a lady who you think would like one,
Oh, I'm sorry.
please, yes, I decorate with, we had a little craft day, and in the craft day, we another kind of version of giving. There's monk fruit in these, by the way. Monk fruit. Monk.
Oh, Diana, I didn't know you made those shells. How beautiful.
I did make those shells.
Thank
Tanya got some.
They're so beautiful. I was just like, oh my gosh, they're so amazing.
Yeah, these are maybe a little less amazing, Tanya, than those. I was a little more successful on your version. I'm not going to go all the way to amazing. I am going to go happily giving.
Made with love.
Yes, that I would say
Made with love.
that's for sure true. Okay, so while people are just noshing on the pumpkin there, luminosity. PT. Let's talk about PT because yeah. Oh, Pete ended up with 12 muffins over there. Nice job, Pete. So PT, I want to talk about it. It's one of the factors that contributes in the jhana states. And jhana being qualities of heart mind that just keep opening, just keep expanding. You can feel it even in our short practices, can't you? You can feel the, oops, I got caught here, a little grip there, little less. Oh, and now I can even open to include the wandering thought. I can open to include the contracted vagal bundle without now seeing it as my problem. There is no more me. Anybody feel that? That's the base of PT. There is no more me. There's just, oh, this. And there's no resistance to it. And there's no clinging to it as me or mine, right? That's the nature of luminosity. It has no me and other in it. And so then I could feel it myself, having a thought about my mom who's here going, ooh, what about, we got to do this in that hour, that holding then this too. Without, right, the me thought or the mine or the even my mother, or and then PT arises. And in the jhana states, which we'll go back to practicing a little bit next year, the energy, for the continuation of the practice grows also. The joy of PT is what keeps us in the practice. It keeps us going. We're like, I want to do it some more. Not like, poof, got through that. Let me get out of here. PT just in its nature will say, let's do it again. Let's do it some more. We could have sat here for quite a while, couldn't we? Yes, you can. You go like, ugh, just open. Right. And then what? The practice is, how do I do that? In our continuing moments. We open and open and open. And then you open to the failure. Remember, I said I was going to go back to talking about it. Then you open to that, even. You don't, rather than get critical, which I could feel me doing, or like, well, I think I had the wrong tone of voice there. I don't know if that was very skillful. We open and include that too, and then can feel for ourselves and others. Right, in all directions. For myself, in the weariness of having a whole bunch of people for several days, and the other who was a little. Right. I think we have a hawk sitting right here on the. Greg, I'm going to let you look because I know you know them. Right on this, behind the black turbine. It's maybe a red shoulder. There you go. Red tail. Hawk. Want to catch those.
Oh,
He already left. The minute he saw us looking, like, no,
Oh, you did, right.
not sharing that. So do we understand what I'm saying? And more than understand it from any kind of cognizing, can you feel that? You can. And I really want us to focus a little bit in the luminosity on the PT, because the PT is the propagator. The PT is the cultivator. It's going to keep us going. We're going to want to do it. And then we're going to show up at Philabelly and we're going to feel the PT there, right? Like just want to do it, want to give it, want to make it, want to do it again, right? And then again and again and again. And then where do you see the affliction? Where do you see the hindrance? Where do you see or get caught? See, because now those 5 boxes are easy to let go. Aren't they really? It doesn't even matter what's in there, really, from this heart mind. What's the affliction that gets you caught? Because we all. And remember, we're not saying affliction as a diminishment of the luminosity, not possible. Can we see them and hold them too in that luminous presence? Can we see where we go? Oh, what about that?
Receipt.
Receipt.
You want the receipt?
We want the receipt. We
I
want them.
can
Yep.
I can say, like, for me, letting go of certain things, it's because I lost things as a child. Like, my whole history was gone because of other things that my parents had engaged in.
Did or didn't do, right?
And so the things that I'm letting go of are a little more difficult. Like, oh, I got these Christmas ornaments, so you would have this for my kids for, when you get older and you have a family or you have a house, and these are little things for you. So for me now, because my kids don't want that, they're just a different generation of like, no, no. And so it's my holding on, my memory of, and I just have to let it go, which has been a very interesting process of like, I hold it and go, oh, but I and I'm like, no, just,
That's right.
it's like, and the vintage clothing stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, when is my fat ass really gonna fit back in that? Really? Come on.
If it does or it doesn't.
That, or you cut it up and make it into something else. I don't know.
Yeah,
Repurposing.
it doesn't matter. then. So from the point of view of the teachings, it says from that heart mind, whatever you would do with it then would be skillful. Whatever you would do with it then would be non-harming. Whatever you would do with it then would be of benefit. Right. And it just would be. And you could do this with it or that with it. You could cut it up and use it for something else. You could give it away. You could donate it to the Humane Society's thrift store. Really remember the what of it. You can just count on it, is I think my point. You can count on it from there. It doesn't matter now. Goodwill or Humane Society, doesn't matter. Right? It's all going to from that heart mind. There is no failure possible. I really mean it. There is no failure possible. You couldn't imagine a way to mess it up now. It wouldn't matter what you did. Give it to the neighbor. Bury it in the ground for another. I don't know. It's all fine because the heart mind of it is self-propagating as it is self-liberating. Those aren't the same words though. Self-propagating and self-liberating. So you don't have to. Doesn't mean. So Kelly did Philabelly 2 weeks ago, maybe now. You want to do it again,
Yeah.
don't you?
Great. Yes.
Yes, you do. You want to go, I want to go back there. I want to go do that again. I want to go serve the mac and cheese or put out the salad or walk the waters or doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You want to do it again. Right. And that is that self-propagating piti, the joy of it. And from that joy, gratitude. The gratitude I get to is more like I get to instead of can't, don't want, there goes those. Doesn't have that quality in it at all, does it? You can feel it. So anything else about generosity? Remember, these are all pieces that contribute to each other, which is why we're trying to talk about them in this way. I do want to make time for Greg to talk about Shelter Box because I want us to understand that better. But I want to make sure we understand before we make any offers that the greatest gift is that quality of heart mind. Number one in you. That's number one. And then what? Whatever you do with that, good news. And will be what? Generative, propagating, and not only continue, cannot be diminished, it says. Cannot be diminished. There's like no lesser ever from it. It can only grow. Right? We have already given, I'll set us up for Greg a little bit. We've already given the ×6 contribution to World Central Kitchen equaled $22,000. They wrote us a letter and wanted to know who we were because it ended up being such a lovely contribution. I think we could probably do something similar here with Shelter Box. We do have throughout the whole month of December giving, although I was hoping with Giving Tuesday coming, we would see this opportunity. This is what we were looking for. Can we see a way to then? Isn't this amazing? This is the whole point of bodhicitta, like grow itself. How can we grow it some more and more? And already we have now Shelter Box making the offer. So I'm going to turn this, Greg, your way a little bit so you can talk. If you talk up a little bit, I think we'll.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so Shelter Box is one of the 4. And Shelter Box is provides a lot of different things, but one of the main things that they provide are these prefab shelters that can hold families, they can hold maybe 2 or 3 people. They also have, solar panels that they have in there for people to charge their phones. They also have all of the utensils that are needed for cooking food. They have the beds. They have all of the stuff that is needed for a family to be able to sustain themselves. And right now, they have boots on the ground right near Gaza. They're actually in Egypt, which is the entry point to get into Gaza. And they're waiting. They have proxies that are on the other side to be able to distribute. And so they are ready to go. And the match actually, so it's a 2-time match. So if you figure that out, so we're doing 2 times to it. So every dollar you give is going to be $2 that goes to Shelter Box.
That's right.
They're adding 2 times.
Oh, they're adding 2 times.
They're adding 2 times. So
So
that
that's
makes
the
it
times.
6, right? So
Oh,
yeah.
Hmm.
So it's a good time for Shelter Box at this particular time. It's a good time anytime, but right now there's a big need in Gaza, and they're ready to go. And so I think that would, makes a lot of sense. And I think, the one thing I wanted to say is this is what I would call strategic giving. I mean, the board has really vetted these organizations. I'm going to let Carrie talk a little bit about Water for People here. And I don't know if Jim is on. Let's see.
I think he's traveling.
Is he okay? And
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name of the other one, so I can't remember.
Against hunger, action
Is it
against hunger.
Okay, and I
Action.
don't.
Central Kitchen.
We already did
We
that.
already gave you that one. Yeah. They're-
These are all the charities that are online, correct,
all
on the
online.
website that we can contribute to, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
but we
that's
want
what
to
I
be,
thought.
but we want to be smart about it, Tanya, is what Greg is saying.
Right.
Did that.
And
Right.
so don't give to the charity directly. Give it to EMC, and then we will give it to the charities
'Cause we're
because that
doubling.
way we'll have our additional. So it's 2 times basically, and then when we give it to them, they will have whatever they multiply it.
And what we do is when we link on, because I've seen all the different ones, so should we just donate that money to EMC and then put in a little liner saying
What you want.
distribute accordingly?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's what I needed a little more clarity, because I was going to click on the charities individually, but if I
No.
just donate to you guys and then distribute accordingly. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much for that, Tanya, because we didn't kind of do it that way the last time, and we realized that we messed up in our instructions. But that's the way to do it, and then we'll figure it out on the EMC side how to give it to each of these
Well,
international charities.
I actually feel that the other one that we did contribute to, I think it was the World Kitchen one, that
Right.
it was like an immediate thing. So if we contributed to that, and then the other ones were coming up, which could be tripled on Giving Tuesday or whatnot. I think it was very clarified, but just knowing, put the money here and then just put the little, message of, distribute accordingly to each of these charities.
Right.
Okay. That's
And,
just me.
and then the other one that I wanted to quickly talk about is St. Andrews. And St. Andrews is going to be, I think, December the 17th. Look for something in the newsletter on that. And we will be going down and purchasing the food or the items. And so if you can just give that to EMC. I think you're not around. Is that correct, Diana?
I am around for that.
You are?
in
Okay.
December.
So I'll be helping Diana.
Mhm.
And
I'm going to contact St. Andrews also, Greg. I have the 2 names to find out what they particularly need.
sure. Okay.
So
that's
I'm
good.
I think we'll do a little more specific
Right.
giving in December based on what they might need.
Right.
Very specifically, because their pantries are pretty good for dry good kind of things, but I think they might need more protein and stuff. We'll figure that out and I'll let you know.
Right. Carrie, do you want to add anything about the Water for People?
Other than, on the website, it really concentrates the efforts on international projects, and mostly the funds they provide services to women throughout the world. And there are like 5 or 6 different locations in India. So young girls and women spend their entire day going to get water.
Securing water, yes.
Right.
So what Water for People does is they provide local sources of fresh water. I just participated in a gifting of, of a packaging of nuts, and this organization is very engineering oriented. And there's a bunch of old duffers who are in the packing process.
Count
Some
me
of
in
them,
on that.
like you. But my youngest child is an engineer, so that's how she's involved in it. How she ropes me in, right? Mom, you gotta go. But I've heard through while we were packing, we were there for 4 hours, shoving little baskets down and tying bows, and watching an old duffer engineer try to tie a ribbon was. But anyways, they are also trying to start locally in the United States. There's a project in North Carolina because of the water issues that happened during the hurricane, and so it's not just an international organization. They're now trying to get some more U.S. participation.
And so I'm not sure if all of you online were able to hear that, but one of the focuses for Water for People on an international basis has been a lot of the women that go out and have to get the water. And it turns out it's, they have to carry the buckets or whatever it is they're carrying long distances. And so it really,
Miles.
it's a big impact. Carrie was talking about India as being one of the focal areas, but I think in Africa too, don't they do a lot?
Yes.
And the assistance and help from old duffer engineers. Hello there. So it's really a great organization. And yeah, I think you'll be hearing more about that as the year progresses as well. But I don't know, are they doing any kind of a match here for Giving Tuesday? No, okay. So, but in any case, so go online, give to EMC. We'll figure out how to give to the individual organizations that you're interested in and go from there. And St. Andrews on December the 19th.
I'm going to put I don't think Jim's on. I will put in the chat the link for our giving. Yeah, EMC giving.
And Venmo is okay too with the line about.
Yeah.
I have a question as well. Sorry to interrupt all the time. Are we going to be helping out with the CRC Christmas donation drive-through, or no, not this year?
We are not helping with CRC because they are now shopping at Target.
I saw that
at 4 a.m. And I have done that twice, and I have a very strong feeling. I was not comfortable because the volunteers are walking along with the recipients, and they're going, we know where the diapers are. We know where the things are. And you're along really because of Target's request that they not be walking alone. And so it feels like a guarding in a way that's made me uncomfortable every time. You can see the family walking along, looking at you like you're the cop, you're the Target cop. Actually, we have the card. We know where the diapers are. We know where the formula is. Thanks. And you have to stay with them. So it just doesn't feel good. There's a million ways to contribute at CRC, by the way, that are wonderful and that contribute a lot. I don't want to participate in that part.
That, like, we used to have really a great time in the basket thing and then car stuff.
Yep. No, they're not doing that.
We're not doing that. Yeah,
streamlined. They got a federal grant. Once you get a grant involved, right, you have to do things a certain way. This became the gotta do it, the corporate version of this. But to contribute to CRC in every other way you do, with clothes and blankets and foods, and the food pantry down there is all wonderful. Please contribute.
I just wanted to get a better understanding of where we are and what we're at and what we are doing. So I love that. Thank you so much.
We're doing St. Andrews on the 19th. We're going to 17th. We're doing Philabelli on the 19th, but we've got our people already. We had a request to help so that the choir could sing on that day. The choir ladies are we're going to be helping them out as we will continue as we get requests. So remember, we're the backup right now for Philabelli, and we had just a few things, and we have more stuff, more people contributed and want to contribute than were asked for. I wrote Terry about it and said, wait, we have more people. And it was like, oh, good news, bring the cookies.
Require singing at Philadelphia?
They're singing at the
Yes.
church.
Oh, it would be cool if they sang
so.
for the people. But it comes-
I think it's a concert
a
at the
concert,
church.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's on the stage.
They usually do that.
They
It's very
do.
nice. It's very
Very lovely. So, yeah,
one more question. I'm so sorry to ask
yes,
this. You know, I'm
Yes.
just like, you know, all over the map.
we're trying.
With my ornaments and stuff, I know I can give them to St. Andrew's because they have a little thing that they do with the families for Christmas,
That's right.
that you can pick up and get, you know, so I'm just gonna give away all my ornaments at this
Lovely.
time. Which is gonna be a little difficult, but it's okay.
It is going to be okay.
It's not gonna be
I
the
promise
Calvine, you know,
The
it's all
PT
that.
that will be its result, Tanya,
Okay.
will
for-
last you longer than the ornament.
No, you know what?
I promise.
You know what? It's all good.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So I just want to make sure, with all the other charities that we're involved with,
Yes.
and I know Mark and Robin at St. Andrews
Yes,
that they do that run through where people will come and get all the things that they need that are, you know, in need.
that's right.
Fine. The other thing at the CRC, so I guess I'm gonna just kind of take those both there. I don't,
Yes.
you know.
Anywhere you take them is going to be good news.
Okay.
Yeah. We are already after 9 o'clock. I want to take just
Sorry.
another moment if we can. Oh, no problem. And do our Bodhisattva prayer.
Yes.
I want us to be fortified with the good. And so just taking another moment, resting in that infinite, ever-present luminosity. And feeling into the truth of that open, spacious, and empty quality of heart mind, room for more. Room for more. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and for the boundless multitudes of living beings. May I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened. May our practice this very day contribute, and may it contribute. So be. Thank you all so much. So sorry for those of you who are on Zoom. You don't get a pumpkin pecan streusel muffin, but we
Oh,
do. We do
Well,
have.
that's okay. Maybe I'll just swing by and pick some up.
Please do. We have extras. We have extras. Would love to share. Be well, everyone. Be well. Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Happy just being awake and alive.
Yes, for all.